A lot of FNAF challenges you see out there require you to sacrifice your brain power for raw speed and precision to get through very fast gameplay that you would usually expect from a max mode. But what if I told you that you don't need any of those to get a hard challenge? This game tests how much chaos you can handle inside your own brain, forcing you to remember multiple things at once while watching everything else, meaning that any distraction will probably kill your run. For this exact reason, this is one of my favorite FNAF challenges out there. Without any more delaying, this is FNATI But Dumb. Enjoy the video. Before going to the challenge, let's go over what this game event is all about. If you've seen Five Nights at Treasure Island 2020, this looks incredibly similar. Yes, the visual assets are the exact same, but the game focuses on fully reworking the gameplay. The cameras don't stay shut, instead only one of them can be shut throughout the night, meaning that we can get much faster gameplay. And every single animatronic has been reworked. Instead of explaining every single animatronic in detail, I will speedrun explaining them out to you to not make this part nearly as boring. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1... PNM, he starts in camera 3, goes to 1, then we either go to 6 or 2. Close the last camera he was in, he will also appear on the left or right side of the office. So if he's on the right, close camera 2, if he's on the left, close camera 6. This employee will start screaming on the left or right side. Close the camera on the corresponding side. One of these for the left, one of these for the right, camera 7 won't work. Impurity will move from camera 3 to 2 to 1 to 6 to the office. If she reaches your office, you die. Close the camera that she's on to reset the kill timer. Acephalus and Undying will appear in your office, stand still on the side they're on, so right for Undying, left for Acephalus. Undying makes this sound when it enters the office, that's important for later on. Also, do appear after center number of flips, just stand still for him. The face will start in camera 9, do 3 sound cues before reaching your office. When he reaches your office, shut off the lights. Hourglass, if he's in camera 3 or 4, shut the light when he attacks. Camera 8 or 5, stand still. Camera 9, shut the lights off. Keep in mind that this is not attacking, but this is. MPNM, shake your mouse from left to right until he's gone. More timer, you place the song louder in one of the cameras, shut that camera to get rid of him, skill timer is 24 seconds. CPNM will appear in one of these 4 cameras, close the one he was in before entering the office. Classic, the face will appear after flipping down, just flip the cameras again to deal with him. Pete will appear as a red dot of the cameras, watch camera for a bit until he disappears. Willy will appear on a random camera, don't watch that camera for too long, he can't be on the same camera as Pete. Sparky, turn off the lights and stand still, after he barks, close the camera to fully deal with him, and that is time! Oh, this was so difficult. I am fucking done. I don't care if I made weird sounds during that. Now it's time for the first max mode of the game. I managed to beat the previous challenge, which is grind time everyone at 10, on my first try. And I will say that going from this to Nightmare at Disney is a big jump, because it took my playtime from 1 hour to 7 hours. But it's also where the fun begins. This will take so much more mental power from the previous challenge, as you can just deal with everyone one at a time. To not immediately die in the first 20 seconds of the night, I'll introduce you to the first thing that I need to learn to beat this, the office cycle. Most of the time, we'll get Mascot PNM, Undying, Sparky and Acephalus to show up in sequence to each other on their first cycle. So, you leave cams as soon as you hear Undying in the office. Then after, you're gonna shake your mouse from left to right to get rid of MPNM, stand still on the right, turn off lights and left. Finish off by closing a cam to finish off Sparky. Very simple cycle, and it's incredibly satisfying to do. In the cameras, we will mostly be looking at these 4 cameras and taking note on where PNM and CPNM were. You don't need to worry about Hourglass right now, since you have time to try every single one of his possibilities. After you learn to keep off the Mickeys and the office cycle, you should be pretty much good to beat this, if it wasn't for 2 characters, the face and Hourglass. I said you don't need to keep track of Hourglass for now, and that's kind of a lie. You don't need to keep track of which camera he's on, however, you do need to keep track if he's in the office or not after finishing a cycle, as that will most likely require you to leave cams shortly after, and you can just wait for it to attack, as you do have other characters to deal with. The best way I found to deal with him was to check if he's in the office right before finishing the office cycle. Going in cams to deal with more timer or check where the Mickeys were. Then after doing what I needed to, I went back to the office to turn off the light and stand still. The face is somewhat similar in relation to breaking the camera cycle, but you need to keep track of his sound cues to know when you need to get off cams. It will be in camera 9, do a long vent with a short bang right after, then it will do a lower pitched bang as it enters your office. This is pretty hard to keep track of, and I still dive to thinking if it was the first bang when it actually was the second. When you start to get the hang of breaking the camera cycles to deal with these 2 characters, you'll very quickly start getting past 2 AM and quickly beat the mode. Actually, one last thing that I forgot to add was that Oswald might be in the office when you leave cameras. So make sure that every time you get out to deal with one of these two, you also stand still to get rid of Oswald. After learning all of that, I managed to beat Nightmare at Disney. Even though I had beaten NAD, I still wasn't very confident in my abilities, but I knew that just going for the next modes would get me better at the game, but before I needed to know what mode I was going to do next. Silent Nightmare at Disney or SM, which I won't tell you the name, but it's right here, you probably know why I didn't say the name. SNAD is easier, but ultimately I decided to go for SM first, as silent mode sounds really scary, and I could very well do another video where I fully explore silent mode by beating Silent Nightmare at Disney and Silent Suicide Mode. Okay, fuck, I said it. I'll just replace the part that I said it. And after not playing for pretty much a week, I finally decided to start grinding for SM. For hard mode, by pressing space on any character on the menu, you can activate hard mode for them individually. So to start off, I went with characters that made almost no difference to the difficulty, mainly to get used to minor new mechanics, but also to get more consistent at the aspects that were already present in NAD. I'll probably just call this the NAD skill set from now on. This might seem like a big jump, as it's more than half of the characters being added to hard mode, but the only characters that do substantially change something are Disembodied, Pete, and Willy. Now instead of shutting down only one camera on the side that Disembodied is screaming at, you will have to immediately shut a camera on the opposite side. Pete will now show up in 3 cameras instead of just 1, and I guess Willy will also do the same. I tried this for about 2 hours without getting anywhere, and it was just really proof I wasn't consistent at NAD. But I streamed this, subscribe for streams by the way, and I got to 4 AM. And then the next 2 hours of stream, I did everything but play the fucking game. This is peak ADHD gaming. But I felt good enough with this that I moved on to adding more characters. Next two I added were Mortimer and PNM. I do recommend to adding Purity as well, and if you aren't confident with the NAD skill set, don't add PNM, but you should probably add PNM since he does actually add something more. I didn't really add Impurity because I was kinda scared, but it should be incredibly chill if you aren't playing very aggressively. In NAD, you need to shut off her camera to make her kill timer reset. Every time you shut Impurity's camera off, her kill timer is gonna go back to 11 seconds. However, in hard mode, for every second that you have her camera shut, it will add 2 seconds to her kill timer. And PNM's mechanic of being visible in the office also made it much harder, as you can just look at the side that he's in the office, increasing a lot the pressure of keeping track of things in cameras. And one last thing, if you aren't already dealing with Impurity as if she was in hard mode, you need to start closing her camera off in the middle of office cycles. Instead of turning off the lights, you're gonna open the cameras, close camera 3, then you're gonna turn off the lights and go to the left side and stand still to finish the office cycle. And there is a character that we added before that will actually make a huge difference. Classic the Face. It will kill faster if you turn off the lights, and if you're in the middle of a cycle, you're very likely to just close cameras and immediately shut the lights, which will most likely not give you enough time to turn the lights back on, and you will die. This happens to me a lot actually. Just make sure to look out for him when you do this in the middle of a camera flip. This is also how we get the death speedrun achievement. Last character I added here was Mortimer, which I thought it was going to be a much bigger trouble, and I honestly didn't know why. But just close his camera every time you open cameras. It should be good, although he will get you killed a lot of times.
Foreshadowing as a narrative device.
It does seem like we're getting very close to finally finishing this off, but the next 3 characters are the biggest skill gap that we have, starting by adding only the face. Now you need to close cam 9 before shutting the lights on him, which means that now you have to pay extra attention to his noises. But with all the build up I did until here, it made it much easier to just give all the extra attention to the face, and it's probably the clearest example as to why you shouldn't just jump into SM, try to get used to everything at once. Make sure that you're getting at least 4 AM in each of these, as that's actually what I was doing. I was going to say that this one took the longest. It actually took me 2 attempts to get to 4 AM, and here it was finally time that I felt like I got consistent with the NAD skill set. Now we have only 2 characters remaining. What are the mechanics that make them so special? Well, first is Hourglass. Now you need to do specific actions for each camera that it's on. Closing the respective camera if it's in camera 4 or 3, standing still on the left if it's camera 5 or right if it's in camera 8, and turning off the light if it's in camera 9. And CPNM, well, he's fast. Not only he'll move twice before attacking, meaning that this entire window that you had to locate him is completely useless now, and his movement is actually faster, making him sync with PNM for the first 2 hours of the night, which made everything so much harder. So I decided to add Hourglass, and I could tell I was getting much better at the game, because on my second or first day of attempting this, I don't really remember, I got 6 minutes in, only 30 seconds away from winning the night. And it gave me a massive confidence boost, so I went straight into it. Montage here, wow, 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 wow. Getting 2 AM on my third attempt was a huge confidence boost. Now, if you play max modes and you've ever paid attention to how you feel when you play and all of that stuff, you know that being confident is very dangerous. But I'll get to that in a bit. But day 1 was insane. I got a 353 and on the next day, this happened. Like, what the fuck? Okay. I wasn't expecting to beat it right now, but that's kinda sad. But yeah, that was kinda cool. I was genuinely so surprised that this happened, and I had scheduled a stream the next day to try to beat it, and I was just like, okay, I guess I need to stop playing before I accidentally beat this. So you can probably guess what happened in the 2 hours that I played this on stream, considering I was that consistent on the day before. Puppet night, puppet. All night. So close. Whatever. I don't care. I hate everything. I hate everything. I hate everything. I hate everything. Can you tell that my mental was absolutely demolished? Day right after the stream, I spent pretty much the entirety of it trying to get a good run going, then crashing out because I couldn't. And the biggest thing for me was actually the cycle at about 120, 130-ish. Let me explain how that works. At about 105, there is a cycle with Hourglass, meaning that he will appear in about 2 cycles. So as soon as you finish the cycle, you gotta go into cameras, remember where Hourglass is. A good tip for Hourglass is to just check these 3 cameras, as if he's not in one of these 3, then you can just turn off the lights and stand still on the left and he will be gone. So as soon as you finish this Hourglass cycle, you gotta remember where Hourglass is, then go find PNM and CPNM. Mainly CPNM since he will appear in the middle of the next cycle. Right after you find CPNM, find Mortimer and deal with him. Close cam 3, go to CPNM's camera, then turn off the lights, because the face is about to get in. If you have the lights off when the face is in the office, his character timer will be fully frozen and he will also stall other characters. This is what's called the face stalling. So after dealing with Undying, CPNM will probably appear in the office, so close his camera and go back to the office cycle. If he still didn't appear, then close the face's camera and finish this office cycle, to then deal with Pete. That's the only time Pete actually matters in the night, because I died to him multiple times during the cycle. This was the strategy that worked the best for me, but there are probably others if you try to look for it. And the reason why this is so hard is because PNM is about to move, CPNM will appear in the middle of that. The face is also gonna be there. You either deal with the face immediately after, then deal with CPNM, then impurity is gonna be extremely close to moving. Or if you wait too long for CPNM while stalling the face, then Pete is gonna kill you. And after you get through this cycle, you need to have Hourglass and PNM's camera in your head, because in a bit PNM will move, and on the next cycle you're gonna have to deal with Hourglass. Mortimer is also gonna be very close to killing you, so you're gonna have to immediately close camera 3 after you get back to cameras, find Mortimer, close his camera, then close Impurity's camera for another 1 second or something, then you can close PNM's camera. It just so much happens that I had to calm myself down and actually recover so I could properly play the rest of the nights, which actually was the real problem for me. I could not calm myself down properly after the cycle, and I would just never make past the cycle, or I would die very shortly after because I forgot to look for CPNM or Hourglass, even though I had been like going light speed through every single camera. And finally, after getting better at everything, here's what I did. Yes! Oh. Yes. Let's fucking go. How much playtime? 21 hours. That's really good. That is my hardest max mode so far, I guess. And it took 15 hours less than 3520. A huge shout out to this video by Lufu, where he does a full guide of this game, although I will say that there are a few things missing, but I should have hopefully covered all of those things in this video. So if you're actually looking to beat this challenge, also go watch that video, I'll link it in the description, and if you enjoyed this video, consider clicking on this other video, which you'll probably like it.